Good morning. Welcome to Newsline. It's Wednesday's edition, September 16, 2014. I'm Chalapansana Rawala. Welcome to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward, broadcasting live on NBT and also Radio Thailand FM 88. In today's top stories, the National Legislative Assembly has unanimously passed the second and the third readings of the budget bill for fiscal year 2015 after more than 9 hours of debate. And in global news, China dispatched a laboratory team to Sierra Leone to reinforce Ebola virus prevention work in the country. And now on to today's headlines. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha presided over the first official cabinet meeting at the Government House. During the meeting, he made known that the martial law will not be lifted in the near future, but his cabinet has prepared to outline a new law to be enforced in place of martial law. A number of factors, including movement of political groups, need to be considered before the martial law can be revoked. The Premier began working from his official office at the Government House after delivering his government's policy statement to the National Legislative Assembly last week. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has suspended the procurement of expensive audio-visual devices for the Government House's meeting rooms following widespread criticism of the costly renovation plan. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha ordered the Department of Public Works and Town and Country Planning of the Interior Ministry to halt the controversial procurement plan and to launch an investigation to resolve whether the price of the devices is reasonable, especially when compared with their quality. The Prime Minister said that it remains too early to judge who should be responsible for the procurement until the investigation is completed. It is reported that officers from the Department of Public Works, Town and Country Planning have now removed all installed devices. The Cabinet agreed to extend the emergency decree in southern border provinces for another 3 months and urged all sectors to help ensure security after 2 British tourists were murdered on Koh Tao Island in Surat Thani province. Deputy spokesperson of the Prime Minister's office, Colonel Sansern Kaew-Kamnert, said the 3 months of the emergency decree in the Deep South was what most government units, private organizations and people in the region wanted. The law was scheduled to take effect from September 29th till December 19th of 2014. Regarding the murder of 2 Britons on Koh Tao Island, Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha said during the meeting that all ties should help dealing with this issue. He also instructed all government units to pay attention to the incident and warned tourists to be careful when staying in dangerous places. The National Council for Peace and Order has announced its own restructuring in order to better allow it to work alongside the newly formed government. The National Council for Peace and Order made known the new structure by issuing its 122nd announcement. In the new structure, General Prayut Chan-o-cha remains the NCPO chief and General Udomdet Sitabut remains the NCPO Secretary General. Some of the newly appointed NCPO members, such as Somkit Chatusi-Pitak, were formerly advisors to the NCPO. Air Chief Marshal Pachin Chantong, speaking as one of the NCPO deputy chiefs, said the restructuring was in line with General Prayut's earlier mentions that the NCPO will work in tandem with the new government and augment the latter's work. He said lawyers have also been added as NCPO members so their work can proceed smoothly. Air Chief Marshal Pachin asserted that as a result of the new structure, the role of the NCPO has been diminished. The National Legislative Assembly has unanimously passed the second and the third readings of the budget bill for fiscal year 2015 after more than 9 hours of debate. In the NLA sittings, 142 members voted in favor of the third reading of the budget bill for fiscal 2015, which involves a spending plan worth 2.5 trillion baht. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha thanked all the NLA members and its committee for passing the bill, while guaranteeing the budget will be spent only for the development and for the sake of Thailand. He also asked the Assembly to help make sure the budget is dispersed efficiently to solve the problems of Thailand. The NLA spent 9.5 hours deliberating the bill, which became the first law it has approved since it was formally appointed in August. The Secretariat of the Senate will now work with the Secretariat of the Cabinet in preparing the approved bill for royal endorsement. The Election Commission hopes to submit to the National Council for Peace and Order a list of the candidates to sit in the Central Reform Council by the end of this week. EC Secretary-General Kun Puchong Nutrawong said that the selection of members for 4 of the 11 committees under the National Reform Council central quota has been completed. The completed selection was for the committee tasked with the reform of general affairs, mass communications, energy and government administrations. Mr. Puchong expects the same process for 7 other committees will be wrapped up by today. If things go as planned, the EC will likely be able to submit a complete list of NRC candidates to the NCPO for consideration on September 19th. For the NRC member selection at the provincial level, Mr. Puchong said that 22 provinces have already completed the process to date. He believes the provincial selection of NRC members will be completed by September 22nd. Deputy Foreign Minister Don Pramudwinai has welcomed the Chinese ambassador to Thailand, who paid him a courtesy call to congratulate him upon being appointed the Foreign Affairs Deputy Minister. The Chinese ambassador to Thailand, His Excellency Mr. Ning Fukai, accompanied by his entourage, paid a courtesy call on Mr. Don Pramudwinai. The ambassador congratulated Mr. Don on his new position and said he was honored to meet him. On this occasion, the Chinese ambassador also mentioned the opportunity would be taken to tighten the long-standing friendship and strengthen cooperation between the two countries, ranging from the economy and trade to infrastructure development and tourism. Chiang Mai provincial authorities have requested all relevant agencies to avoid contaminating the Mekha Canal, built as a water supply and drainage system for the Chiang Mai municipality. Chiang Mai Governor Suriya Prasad Bandit, together with Major General Sarayut Rangsi, the commander of the 33rd Military Circle, presided over a campaign to return purity to the Mekha Canal. Recently, it has been reported that the amount of sediment accumulating in the canal have increased by 80%. The problem of wastewater in the canal has been neglected for a long time, resulting in more sewage and garbage piling up in the water. About 2,000 households living nearby the canal have been severely affected. Therefore, the campaign aims to drain wastewater out of the area and replace it with clean water in order to return the canal back to its natural state. About 170,000 cubic meters of wastewater has been released out of the canal per day. Meanwhile, the Internal Security Operations Command in Chiang Mai has requested residents living in the area to constantly monitor the quality of water following the launch of the campaign in order to prevent the canal from being contaminated again. Many parts of Thailand are expected to be battered by heavy rains as a consequence of Typhoon Kalmagi, which is moving towards Vietnam. According to the latest report from the Meteorological Department, Typhoon Kalmagi is currently located 600 kilometers east of Hanoi, Vietnam, in the South China Sea. After causing devastation in the Philippines, the system is moving towards the west-northwest at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour. It is forecast to sweep across the Chinese island of Hainan before making landfall in northern Vietnam. At the same time, the strong southwest monsoon will continue to hover over the Andaman Sea, Thailand, and also the Gulf of Thailand. Under such circumstances, increased rainfall is predicted nationwide, with scattered showers to be seen in 60 to 80% of the area. Heavy downpours are likely in the north, northeast, and the east of the country, as well as on the west coast of the south. So people living in the affected areas are encouraged to beware of possible disasters. With 2 to 3 meter high waves, it is advised that small boats be kept ashore for the time being. On September 19, the southwest monsoon is expected to begin winding down, allowing the majority of Thailand to enjoy drier conditions, with rain still possible in 40 to 60% of the area. As there is a high number of neglected children on the streets and wanting them to grow up to be responsible adult citizens, the Community Development Department of the Ministry of Interior arranged a 2-day field trip to Chonburi for the young residents of a children's home named Children from the Street that is located in Samut Prakan province. It was planned for them to experience what it's like to enjoy a day at the beach, as these children have never experienced such an outing before. Kun Sotchun Lim Greng Grai has more.
On September 13, 2014, at the Community Development Department headquarters, located in Jang Watana Government Complex, Director General of the Community Development Department, Kwan Chai Wong Nitikon, presided over a ceremony to launch the trip to the beach and gave all the children gifts and bags, as well as granting additional funding to the children's home.
เห็นว่าใกล้ๆขอบกรุงเทพเราเนี่ยก็มีเด็กเร่ร่อนเนี่ยอยู่มากมายมีมูลนิธิที่เกิดเข้ามาช่วยเหลือเด็กอย่างเงี้ยเยอะเราก็เอามาเข้ามาให้โอกาสเขาสักครั้งหนึ่งให้เขาได้เรียนรู้ให้เขาพบโลกกว้างลำพังแต่เด็กเร่ร่อนในโอกาสที่จะไปเที่ยวหรือจะไปกินข้าวดีๆไปนอนที่ดีๆไปดูสิ่งสวยงามไปดูที่เป็นอันซีนที่มนุษย์เขาอยากดูเนี่ยมันยากเพราะมันขาดทั้งโอกาสขาดทั้งเงินขาดทั้งองค์ความรู้ขาดอะไรต่างๆนั้นอันนี้ก็เป็นสิ่งหนึ่งที่กรมพัฒนาชุมชนอยากทำ
This trip provided many first-time experiences for the children, such as the first ever air-conditioned bus trip, their first visit to Chonburi, and of course, the first opportunity to see the amazing sights at Bang San Aquarium, including going to the fascinating Bang San Aquarium to learn about marine life, and then to the seaside to play on the beach, and helped to pick up garage before having an hour-long recreational activity at the Institute of Community Development Complex in Chonburi Province, where the children stayed overnight. The children also expressed their pleasure in having so much fun. They loved seeing all the fish, playing in the sea, and most of all singing and dancing during the recreational activity at night. After all the fun activities, children were also asked to express the feelings about happiness on paper. Many children wrote down that happiness is love, happiness is to give, and happiness is being with the people who love them. The 2-day trip created so much joy, so much laughter, and so much happiness for the children that was shared by all involved. Such an activity gives the children a chance to have a break from routine and be inspired to overcome the difficulties they have faced in the past. They enjoy feelings of happiness that will in various ways help to propel these children to grow up into fine young adults with a promising future. This is Sotchun Lim Greng reporting.
To experience the real food culture of a country, it's often best to try the local food being sold from carts along the streets. What is street food in the neighboring country of Cambodia like? Kun Pranot Si Sin Sap is there with this report.
Sometimes I feel like I need something to fill me up. I frown when I'm down. I'm homebound, but I keep looking around. Make my way to the kitchen, and I say, do we still have some fried chicken? 'Cause I wanna stuff my face with chocolate burgers, fries, and
Eating
chicken.
street
I
food,
don't care
no
about
matter
the
where you're from, is a fascinating experience. In Cambodia, it's not hard to find a street corner with a row of carts lined up, dishing out meals for the passerbys in Phnom Penh. Food that is safe to eat and delicious despite being prepared and sold outside in a tropical climate.
Food doesn't mind being spooned.
Today I will take you to see 3 streets when you come to Phnom Penh you shouldn't miss. The first street that we're currently in right now is called Passage Street, located in downtown Phnom Penh or south of the Central Market. As you can see from the selection of food here, it's very popular among students and school youth.
Everything's gonna be alright. Oh, hooray for today.
ចាកាលពីមុនរៀងសោយតែឥឡូវរៀងគ្រាន់បើ
One of the workers in a local street food tent revealed that businesses on the streets are doing very well. Despite long rows of shops all trying to gain sales by selling similar food, her shop alone already pulls in as many as 300 customers per day. But having a lot of customers also depends on the weather, as the rainy seasons drive customers away, while sales on sunny days make for a blissful day in business. If you want to come and try the delicious snacks that young teens and school students in Phnom Penh love to eat, well, come here in the afternoon, as the stores around here makes their sales from 12:30 p.m. until 10 or 11 p.m. Another recommended street is just a block away. It's named Praang Makawan Street, and this street is famous for chicken dishes, as there is chicken cooked in various ways. However, this street is not quite as popular as pasture streets. The last street is known for its dining experiences. Located on the Spianhang Bridge area or Sisawat Street, this street isn't filled with rows of courts, but rather rows of upscale pubs and restaurants. But if you want to satisfy your desire to try unusual food, walk to the side of the bridge to try the local fried insects, beetles, worms, frogs, and snakes that are well loved by the local people. Winnet Pra, a 20-year-old entrepreneur who started an insect frying business with his brother, revealed that each day they are able to sell 20 to 30 kilograms of fried insects, and at $1 per cup, they are doing really well. Dining along the streets is a very nice way to feel a part of the Cambodian lifestyle and thus take in the vibrant scene. So when you come to Cambodia, these three great locations should definitely be on your list of places to visit. I'm Panut Sinsap, reporting from Phnom Penh, Cambodia.
Right, let's have a look at the stock market. Thailand's composite index yesterday plunged 13 points, settling at 1,565.41 points, with turnover of 47 billion baht. The day's top 5 trading stocks were Chor Kan Chang, True Corporation, CK Power, Italian Thai Development and Jasmine International. Asia Plus analysts credited the fall to the uncertainty of the benefits of the long-term equity fund and the possibility of the inheritance tax bill amendment, which sparks concerns over the capital gain tax. Analysts stated that today's local stock market direction would likely be dictated by the decision of the Bank of Thailand's Monetary Policy Committee on whether or not to maintain the benchmark rate at 2%. They also predicted that the set index would slightly fluctuate, citing the resistance and support levels should be at 1,585 and 1,560 points, respectively. In today's segment of Now or Never, Dr. Yongyut Mayalap, the spokesperson of the NCPO, will talk about Thailand's logistics development plan. Let's have a look now.
Welcome to Now or Never, the program that updates you on the policies and developments of the National Council for Peace and Order, or NCPO. The NCPO recently acknowledged the report of the first meeting of the year of the Committee on the Development of Systems for the Management of Goods and Services Transportation of the country. The development of the nation's logistics system is being driven by subcommittees overseeing this in 3 aspects, namely industrial and agricultural areas, and the integrative linkage of information for import, export, and logistical uses. Significant results included the setting up of the methods to evaluate the success of the implementation according to the Master Plan for the Development of Industrial Logistics 2012 to 2016, and the arranging of a draft management framework for the supply chain and logistics of 4 important agricultural products, namely rice, rubber, tapioca, and fruits for exportation. The linkage of information regarding permits and other concerned documents among 36 governmental agencies and the National Single Window, or NSW system, have also made great progress. For example, 18 such agencies have now officially connected their information to the NSW system, 11 are under the testing period, and 7 are under the process of development
or procurement of the information linkage system. The NCPO and the committee also acknowledged the progress with regards to the linkage of electronic information on the import, export, passing through and logistics that the committee had previously designated the Department of Customs to coordinate with the private sector and agencies that are concerned with import, export, passing through and logistics, totaling 36 in number. This involved the adjustment of bureaucratic steps for permit and certificate issuance services for businesses, the expediting of the completion of the linkage to the NSW in terms of the document transaction system for certificates and permits, and the port community system. The committee had also presented to the NCPO the Thailand's Logistics Report of 2013 that anticipated that the cost of logistics in relation to the country's GDP will be at 14.0%, a reduction from the figure of 14.4% of the year 2012. This is due to the decrease of the administrative and management cost of remaining goods in stocks by the more efficient business operators, and the interest rate for loans that has shown a downward trend. สวัสดีครับ
From Thailand moves forward, let's have a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
During the special telecast of the 17th Asian Games from September 20th to October 4th, 2014, Newsline will be broadcast every day, except Saturday on NBT.
Thai people see the world differently. When we are shy, we smile. When we are bored, we kick. When we are stressed, we meditate. And when we don't have enough, we give. The more we feel sad, the more playful we get. The way of Thai, our way of unique happiness, and it begins with the people. Amazing Thailand.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. Now to international news. China yesterday dispatched a laboratory team to Sierra Leone to reinforce Ebola virus prevention work in the country. China's state-run broadcaster CCTV reported that the team consists of 59 experts who are from the China Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Organized by the National Health and Family Planning Commission, the team is expected to participate in virus testing work in order to improve the lab testing ability. Now, according to the National Health and Family Planning Commission website, since the outbreak of Ebola in the Western African countries of Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone, China has sent 174 experts to help halt the epidemic. The West African country will restrict residents within the area to the areas around their homes for 3 days from Friday onwards in a bid to halt new infections. The 59 expert team will help test suspects during the 3-day lockdown. Moving on to a tropical country like the Philippines may not have the most favorable conditions for breeding penguins, but the Manila Ocean Park persisted in its hatching program and has successfully bred a baby Humboldt penguin last July. The newest member of the park's marine family debuted for the public yesterday with beauty pageant contestants among cooing admirers. The viability of the baby penguin came after a long process of trial and error that began back in 2013. After the first penguin egg turned out to be infertile, the marine park's workers improved the facility's husbandry, making changes in the nesting area, water parameters and temperature, so conditions could be more conducive for breeding. This year, eggs were laid in May, and 43 days later, 2 eggs hatched, and one of the penguins survived. Mother and father penguin took turns incubating the egg. The Humboldt penguin is usually found in South America's Pacific coast, mostly in Chile and Peru. They live in rocky areas around the shores and are predisposed to a warmer climate and do not engage in the migration process, unlike other types of penguins. And that's it for today's edition of Newsline. If you do have any suggestions or comments, please feel free to write to us. And the email address is newsline.nbt@gmail.com. Just a quick announcement, from the 20th of September to the 4th of October, Newsline will be aired from 7:30 to 7:55 a.m. due to the special telecast of the 17th Asian Games. And today we say goodbye with a rare breed of the Thai crocodile that is found in Pisanulok Province. I'm Chalaphansan Rula. Have a good one. Swadee ka.